It's Thursday, baby. It is Thursday. Let me zip this up. I just got off work, guys. Thank you for your patience. I know we probably won't be seeing this till like 9:30, 10 o'clock tonight. But let's jump into it. We are on the next episode, and this is called Fluctuations. I'm just gonna dive into it, guys, because these videos are over 20 minutes long, and we just don't have time to waste. Starts out with Mei Mei fighting, I believe it's the smallpox special grade curse. I know it's like a disease special grade curse, and I didn't realize that, like, I knew curses are formed for, like fear. I didn't know that they were formed from like specific events that form specific curses. But we got like that locust curse, and then we've got now the smallpox curse. And it turns out, as Mei Mei is fighting this curse, she gets boxed up and then hit with a boulder. That if that happens 3 times, or if she doesn't break out of it, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've watched this episode twice, and both the explaining the curse technique and then explaining Nobito's Zenin, his curse technique, I get lost, guys. Your boy is here for that's why Yuji's my favorite. He just punches people. Maki is my favorite. She just punches people, or uses curse tools. Sometimes the curse technique is a little tough, but turns out if you get hit by this curse technique that the smallpox curse has, then you basically contract smallpox and you die. And Mei Mei has already been hit with it twice, and you see it on her hand when she grabs Wee Wee, that it's like already kind of spread to her hand a little bit, like she's starting to feel it. So it turns out that Wee Wee can't, like, he's not just a little weapon boy, little backpack boy. He's got some cursed energy, and he can use simple domains. So she baits the special grade curse, because like it's still a curse. Like, I know special grades like are borderline, like, I don't want to say sentient, but they can talk. This one doesn't talk, but we saw obviously like Jogo and Mahito and Hanami all talk, but it seems like it targets anything that flexes its cursed energy. So she has Wee Wee do that while she suppresses hers, sneaks up on him, slices off the hand so it can't do the technique to kill Wee Wee. And then right as it's sneaking up on her, she turns one of her crows, which we've only seen used for surveillance so far, and even she says, like, that was as far as my curse energy goes. And so, like, I was really sad that I was going to be a weak sorcerer till I found out what to do to make myself incredibly strong. And we didn't know what that was. Like, we've seen her with the battle axe, but we didn't know, like, how made that grade 1 strong. And it turns out that when you make a pact, and we saw this with Yuji and Rika, said when you make a pact to give your life, your curse energy just goes crazy. And she does that by having the crow make a pact for its life with its cursed energy, so it becomes an undodgeable ballistic missile, like basically a crow cannonball that just one-shots a special grade curse. Now, that is insane. That is truly insane. It's one thing to have, like, yeah, it's a cool technique. It's another thing to be able to one-shot a special grade curse. I just realized you can see my bowl of cereal that I just ate. So you know what? So I just got home, okay? I was you guys trying to do everything, but I'm sorry for having that in the background. That's what I get for not having editing equipment. But even so, we're 4 minutes in. I wouldn't start over. One shots, like, that's crazy that it gives off that much energy by, like, kind of turning itself into just like a dive bomber and just obliterates the special grade curse and undomains it. And now she's face to face with, I'll call him Gato, but we know it's like, the crane curse, like the brain curse. I don't know what the name of the brain curse is. But we know it's not, it's fake Geto, but face to face with him, and he's already got like a curse spinning around him, and he's like, oh, you're pretty good for a modern sorcerer. And I kind of like that, because it shows possibly how long that brain curse has been around for, and it might give Mei Mei a clue to, like, who that is. And I don't know, like, Gato by himself versus Mei would be a pretty good fight. Can Gato do domain expansion? I don't know. I don't think he can. Otherwise, I feel like he would have used it against Yuta. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe someone can answer that, or maybe don't answer that because maybe we'll see it. But with that special grade, you know, I'm gonna assume the Brain Curse is also a special grade curse. With a special grade curse inside a special grade sorcerer, that's a pretty tough matchup right there. So I've heard this arc is hard to stomach. I don't know what's going to happen to Mei, but I'm wishing her and Wee all the best. Their very weird relationship aside, I'm still rooting for them. I'm still in love with Mei. She's gorgeous. She's smart. She breaks down her opponent's techniques. She figures out how to beat it. Like, the fact that she doesn't lose her cool while being instantly domained by a special grade curse and figures out how to beat it, it's just like, it's my girl right there. Also, that's where we see the credits. And speaking of which, spoilers ahead, guys, obviously. And let me move this to the bottom because I do want to talk about another, you know, like I said, as you go through this season, you see things in the opening credits that are spoilers, but you don't know they're spoilers because you haven't seen it yet. You know, we see Chozo breaking down like he did last episode. That's in the credits. We see, you know, Mahito transfiguring everybody in the train. Spoilers. Like we see obviously the prison cell, the box, the cube thing, the prison realm. We see that. Like there's a lot of things that we see that we now know are spoilers that we didn't know. And there's another one in there that I noticed on my second watch. Nanami, Maki, and Older Zenin, which Nobito, I think is his name. I think that's what he said. Pretty strong trio. Now, I will go on the record here. The Zenin clan is straight cheeks. They're the worst. They're the absolute worst. They're misogynistic. They look down on anyone that doesn't have cursed energy. Just look at Toji, who's also in the Zenin clan. They're not a good organization. All I'll say is that Nobita stands on business when it comes to fighting. Is he a drunk old man that the first thing he says when he hears about Gojo being sealed, like, oh, I want to toast to the end of the Gojo clan? That's kind of messed up, man. That is your, like, just like on a personal level, that's kind of mean to, like, toast the end of a fellow clan that you're supposedly on the same side of. Like, just, I was thinking that after, you know, because I watched it right before work, and then I was like, why do they have high school kids fighting all their fights? Like, where are all the other sorcerers? Like, Ino is there. Nanami is there. Where's everybody else? Where are all the adults here? Because, so, like, besides Nobito, Nanami, is Ino? No, Ino's not a high schooler. Mei, and Gojo. That's 5 adults compared to Maki, Panda, Inumaki, Fushiguro, Nobara, Yuji. Like, the kids outweigh the adults in this situation. And I realize it's a show. It's a YA series. And I know that's got like a bad connotation to it. But it's a YA series. It's about high school kids. It's like My Hero Academia. But at least in My Hero Academia... sorry. At least in My Hero and like Demon Slayer and like other shonen that I know of, because I'm an anime noob, you see other professionals out there. You see other professional heroes fighting against the villain league. You see the Hashira fighting against the demons. You don't just see literal children, little high schoolers fighting for their lives while all the adults like sip on some sake and get drunk on Sapporos on the side of on the road where people are literally being mauled to death by transfigured humans and curses. That's all I'm gonna say. Also, we're gonna talk about it. We'll get to it, but like Nanami, like he's like, oh, why are you here? Like, you know, going back to Older Zen and being like an a-hole. He's like, why are you here? You're not even grade 1. We should send her home, right? Right, Nanami? And he's doing it to degrade her. We all know this. I was wondering like how they were gonna butt heads because of like obviously Maki's past with the Zenin clan, and you know, I don't know if that was him in that flashback with her and Mai. I don't know if that was him. I'm just gonna assume it is because I feel like they've got the same mustache. I haven't watched that scene in a minute. I'm just gonna say it is. But if that is him, then obviously she's got a bad rap from the Zenin clan, so much so that she's still being held at grade 4 when she's easily semi-grade 1. At the very least, Maki's semi-grade 1. Like, she's on Ino's level. I'd say so. Maybe a little bit stronger. I don't want to know. But, you know, she got recommended for grade 1 for good reason. But I forgot where my point was. They run into Dagon. I'm just going to keep going because I can't. Whatever. They run into Dagon, who, you know, we've seen the least out of all, like, the main adversaries, you know, of, like, Jogo, Mahito, Hanami, Fate Gato. Like, Dagon's the one we've seen the least. Like, we know that beach that they're always hanging out in, and, you know, playing beach volleyball with Jogo's head and stuff like that. That's his domain, but we don't really know anything about it. And so when he comes out and he's all squeaky and cute, older Zenin just immediately just gets behind him, freezes him somehow, punches him in the stomach so hard that he throws up a full sand dune. I don't know, not a mountain, but like less than a hill as well. Like, I'll say a dune full of skeletons. And that's what I want to ask. And that people can give me spoilers on this if they want to. Do curses, do they feed on humans? Is it just like that's how evil they are? They're just so evil that they feed on curses? Because we saw the locust curse eating one of the assistants. We saw, you know, in the beginning of this season, like not premature death season, where the first curse that Gato absorbed, he was feeding on a human. Like, we've seen other curses just kind of crush people and like disfigure them, but like, do curses always eat people? Is that a thing? Because like older Zenin, like Nobito's like, oh my god, like doesn't even say oh my gosh, she's like, oh, how many people have you eaten? Just like as a thing. So I guess that's a thing. I didn't know that. I don't know if that makes them stronger. It seems like a very Demon Slayer thing. Like the more people they feed on, the stronger they get. Maybe that's true in special grade curses. I'm not sure. I've never heard of Jogo eating people. I know he smokes a transfigured human pipe, which was the creepiest like, they don't even address it, that he's literally smoking a pipe and it's a transfigured human going, no! Like, that's the most messed up thing, and no one talks about it. No one talks about it. Go watch that scene where they're at the hot spring, and that's what he's smoking on. It's wild. Just wild, and no one talks about it. I'm still not over it. I will say this, again, and I don't like this guy. I don't like Nobito. I don't like the Zenin clan. The man stands on business when it comes to a fight. Immediately just starts whooping up on Dagon. When Dagon, we think, and I knew it was coming. If you've seen literally any anime, you knew it was coming. That he's going to turn from this cute little squiddy monster that apparently eats like thousands of humans to this super Chad bro octopus, like yoked out alpha sigma grind set curse. And immediately, like, just crashes tidal waves, takes a one-shot from Nanami, doesn't even phase him, takes a one-shot from Maki, and even Maki's like, oh, if Nobito hadn't been there, I would have died. So Dagon's about that life when he transforms, because apparently he was still just a cursed womb. He wasn't even, like, fully formed yet. And, again, this goes into, like, the technique, describing the curse technique. Do I understand it? No. But Nobito's curse technique, like, he basically breaks the fourth wall. He's like, do you understand animation and frame rate? Well, he can move within 1/24th of a second, and if his opponent doesn't react to that, if he touches them, he can freeze them for a second and like turns them into basically like a manga panel. But if he makes any wild movement that isn't within his like kind of flexibility or dexterity range, he can get thrown off. Or if his opponent does move, he can't change course. So if his opponent like predicts where his movement's going to go, he can just be walking into just a straight uppercut or something like that. Which is what I'm probably wrong with how I pictured it. But But Maki and Nanami are basically watching Nobito kind of one piece this guy, so much so that immediately Dagon's like, okay, we're going to the beach. Beach time. He's Dagon going full Ken here and going beach. And it turns out that it's his domain and that his guaranteed hit is invisible Shikigami hitting you, but you don't know until you get hit. Somehow they're able to reveal the Shikigami coming at them, but even like Nobito's able to put up his simple domain to protect himself, but Maki and Nanami are kind of just screwed, and Nanami gets dogpiled. And I want to say that like him shouting direction to Maki was so unnerving, because there's so many times, even when he was 1v1ing Mahito and kind of getting his ass kicked, he was just like, you know what, I guess it's time to go to overtime. Well, it is what it is. Or like when he was about to die in Mahito's domain, he was like, you know what, I don't need your people thank me, I don't need your thanks. Him yelling, him getting like worked up, like something's happening to Nanami, and I like it, but it's still just like, oh, I've never heard you emote. You're always so deadpan. Like, you know, the last episode we saw him, like, we heard him getting angry. Like, he wasn't yelling like he is in this, but he's just like, oh my god, give me the information. How many people are with you and where are they? So I love seeing that from him, and we see it later, you know, in the thing. And he gets dogpiled, he disappears, and not looking good. You see blood splatter everywhere. Maki gets dogpiled, but she comes back and she drops the coldest line. She said, if you're gonna call me weak, you better one-shot me, Octo bitch. And that's the only curse word I'll say this episode. But the fact that she says that, I don't know what the actual translation is. I've heard that sometimes Crunchyroll's translation aren't exactly right, or like, you know, the connotation might be different. I want to know what the actual insult is, and if it is Octo B, I love her so much. I love Maki so much. She's so great, and like she knows maybe she's not strong enough for this fight, but right when Dagon's about to finish her off again after being called I love Octo B. Boom! Megami bursts in with his domain, because it's easier to go into a domain rather than go out, but there's no point in going into a domain because then you're guaranteed to get hit by that person's domain. But because he's using his domain, he can't get hit, and the auto hit, like the guaranteed hit, is being disregarded by Megumi's domain. Meanwhile, he immediately transports in Playful Cloud, the 3-stick thing that Maki's so good with. She starts whooping up on Dagon. Meanwhile, Nobito got hit with the Shikigami eventually, got his whole left arm torn off, whole left arm bitten off by one of these giant Shikigami sharks or whatever, and is still fighting. Nanami goes over to protect Megami from the giant Shikigami sharks and slices 2 in half, and things are going down. Megami's struggling, his nose is bleeding. He's like, this guy thinks we're doing a tug of war, but basically I'm just holding him off. I've created a small little escape hatch through his domain. We'll get out of here. He's not powerful enough to do 2 domains in one day. He's not Gojo. So once we're out of his domain, once we break the domain and escape it, 4v1, we can take this guy. We can, even with Nobito with one arm, like, we can make this thing happen. Nanami's all bloodied up and basically shirtless. You love to see it. Not bloodied up, but you know what I'm saying. And as they're like, that's when Nanami shouts like, get over here now. They're about to jump through the escape hatch. You see Dagon be like, oh, he realizes what's going on. He's chasing him. And you're expecting, you know, like, you never know the timing in anime. Like, villains can appear. People can, you know, flash step, do whatever. You think something's going to happen, like the hole's going to close up at the last second. Maybe 2 of them are going to get out. Maybe everybody, but Megami's going to get out. But instead, someone starts coming in. You see 2 hands raised. And I genuinely did not know what this reveal was going to be. I was like, 2 arms. I don't see sleeves. That's not Yuji. Boom. It's freaking Toji. Oh my gosh. The most powerful non-sorcerer there is. Mr. Chaos himself, Mr. I kill teens for money himself, Mr. I upset the entire balance of the Jujutsu world and set basically all of this in motion by sending Geto down one path and Gojo down the other, breaking up that friendship. Like, just crazy how the impact this man has already had on the sorcerer world, and now he's back. Like, we knew he was back. We watched him beat up our precious Ino. We watched him kill Granny, and I was wondering, you know, I said, like, I think I see Megami kind of facing off with him in the street, you know, in the opening credits. And I also saw him break through. You see him break through in the opening credits. It's like a flash thing, and you can't really tell unless again, you can't tell unless you're looking for it now. Now I'm looking for it, and you see him break through in the credits. And oh my gosh, y'all. Like, this episode was crazy. Dagon coming out of nowhere, and like, I kind of had forgotten about him. I was like, is he just like a you know, a domain like hangout guy? Is he just like got a chill spot to hang out in? But no, Dagon's a fighter if he needs to be. But I'm so curious of, like, we've seen Toji break domains by himself. Now, granted, was that curse as strong as Dagon? I don't know. I'm honestly not sure. It seemed more, like he said, it's more of a simple domain. You know, the scissor lady that he was like, ah, you're not my type. It's like, but man, like, I'm not a fan of Toji. Like, he kills kids for money. But at least with Toji, you can understand why he hates the sorcerer world. You can understand why he is the way he is that he was immediately neglected because he couldn't see cursed energy. The Zenin clan's the absolute worst, so he found no love, no warmth from, like, people that were supposed to love him, was outcast, and was literally forced to sell his own child. And that's the only reason why he told Gojo about it, because he was like, you know what, let me stick it to the Zenin clan, because that's all I care about. And so, I don't know if he's going to fight Maki. I don't know if he's going to fight Nobito first. I don't know if he's going to fight Dagon or not. I don't know who he's going to go after. He could literally go after everybody. He has a reason to fight all 5 beings that he just got in the ring with. So I don't know what he's going to do. And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm so excited. And I say this every week, but like, the cliffhangers of this episode, of these episodes, are so insane. Like, it's just crazy. And I love it so much. I love this show so much. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. I keep thinking every week that I'm going faster, but we're still at 23 minutes right now, and I really apologize for that. We'll be back for next week to see who Toji fights. That's basically all we're seeing, and I can't wait. Have a good night, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.